Hi, I'm Rafael dos Santos Lima, Cunha, Canabrava, and this is my application to the Vimy Ridge Pilgrimage Award. I was born in Curitiba, Brazil, and I moved to Canada when I was about 7. I currently speak Portuguese, English, and I'm trying to learn French. I would like to become a history teacher when I grow up, and if I'm allowed to dream big, maybe a diplomat across Brazil, Canada. I love reading and learning about history, especially about the great men of history, although I know that great man theory as a whole is a little archaic. I would like to think of myself as having an outgoing and confident personality, and if I may be so bold, I would like to consider myself a funny guy. My favorite video game is Airships Conquer the Skies. My favorite book is The Wager by David Gran. And I would like to learn how to draw, and I have a distaste for watching TV. I am applying to the Vimy Ridge pilgrimage because I absolutely love history. And I would like learn more about the First World War directly and experience the sites of the famous battles myself. I've always had a fascination with the First World War, especially since it was so mechanically brutal. And I hope to be able to contextualize the past more accurately and know what the soldiers actually had to endure on a day-to-day basis. I think it would be instrumental for my experience in learning about the First World War. And additionally, I suppose it would be a great experience to practice my French while in Belgium. And plus, I've heard the food in Europe is pretty good. I think that I am, above all, a great audience. I'm a great listener, and I feel that I would have much to add to any conversation about World War One or history as a whole. I know some good bits about it currently, but I think seeing it in person would really be very inspiring and maybe change my perspective. I would love to add to topics and discuss history, and I hope to do much of that while on the pilgrimage. Another thing I hope to achieve while there is to make some friends and build some connections. I personally love history, and I think that the people I meet at the pilgrimage will be exactly my type of people. British history has always interested me, especially during the Victorian era, which is by far my favorite historical era. This is probably because I watched so much horrible histories when I was younger, but that's neither here nor there. I personally see the First World War as a culmination of all the big events and changes that transpired during the Victorian era. It brings together the whole of the biggest developments that happened. There's the industrialization, the rising nationalism, the conflicting ideologies, imperialism and colonialism, development of new technologies, and the militarization and professionalization of the armies. The latter two had a direct effect on the brutal mechanization of the warfare. Something I'm always astounded by, the how brutal and it was. The quote from the French lieutenant, "The humanity is mad," is fascinates me. To me, the First World War is nothing but a tragedy. I always like to learn how people viewed their world when their reality was so vastly different. What did they think of things that they, in retrospect, knew very little about or dealt with every day? And that's another thing, how they lived their day-to-day lives. Like the First World War specifically, it's very interesting because how did they cope with what they were witnessing and experiencing every day? Sometimes I learn about their first-hand accounts and what living in the trenches was like, and I'm always astounded by how they could see that on a daily basis and still live, and if they could even live. I always love to hear about primary sources of history, and I hope that while I'm on the pilgrimage, I hear about many primary sources. This has been my application to the Vimy Ridge Pilgrimage Award. I shall await your response, hopefully a positive one, with great anticipation.